Okay, well, welcome everybody. This is Mark Bonner here speaking from the Long Beach Area Council, and we want to welcome you to this Cub Leader call. Okay, well, welcome everybody. I've got to stop my my other Long Beach Area Council. There we go. Okay, so that's our live stream that you heard duplicating there. And Amy, could you tell me if that's working?
Let me pop over and check here.
Okay.
Oh, I'm not on the page. Sorry.
So we're just making sure that we've got our live stream going here. So bear with us for 1 minute. Looks good.
Let me see. Yep, looks like we're going.
Great. All right. Well, for those people, we still have a few more coming in, so that's good news. For those people coming in, this is our second Cub Scout Leader Pack update. We took a poll last call, and the majority of folks on that last call wanted to hear a little bit more about virtual den meetings, virtual pack meetings, virtual campouts, and Zoom 101. So we've got an exciting presentation for you with some tips, some tricks, some highlights, and some sneak peeks on some new info that we are just releasing. So with that said, I wanted to, again, welcome everybody. Welcome anybody who is live streaming on our YouTube page. And at this point, I want to hand it over to our presenter for the evening, Jen. So Jen, take it away.
You got it. Hi, everybody. How are you doing? I am going to share my screen with you. So give me just 1 second here. All righty. Can everybody see Zoom on your screen? Give me a thumbs up if you can see it. All right. I'm seeing thumbs up, so I'm assuming that you can also hear me. So that's fantastic, because the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to ask you a huge favor. I am going to ask you to please turn on your video. Everybody is pretty much off right now, so I know that is a big ask. But I'm going to ask you to please turn on your video, and I don't care what your hair looks like, or that your house is a mess, or you're stuffing your face with dinner, or your kids are running around in just like half a diaper. Like, if you're dressed from like at least the waist up, like, we're good, okay? Because let's be honest, like, the best part about having a group meeting is that you get to be in a room with other people. And since we can't physically be in a room together, this video is basically as close as we can get right now. So at least we get to look at something, you know, other than the presentation, and we get to see how everybody's reacting. Because when your video is off, it kind of feels like you're disengaged. And subconsciously, you're telling other people that it's okay for them to disengage too. So even if you turned your video off because you're, you know, trying to save the rest of us from something that we might see that might give us horrific nightmares, like, just don't stress about it. Turn on your video. All right, awesome. I am starting to see a lot more people. That's fantastic. So now take a look at the presentation I'm sharing. If you can, please hold up one finger if you see the slide that says Zoom, and hold up 2 fingers if you see the slide that says Google Meet. Okay, so I'm glad most of you are holding up 1 finger, because I didn't actually make a presentation for Google Meet. We're here to talk about Zoom and how to use it for den and pack meetings. And on a scale from 1 to 5, 1 being absolutely terrified and 5 being like super duper confident, how are you guys feeling about running Zoom den and pack meetings right now? Okay, we're kind of all over the board. That's great. Now, leaders, do me a favor. Jump into the chat and type in your pack number, your den rank, and if you've done a Zoom meeting yet or not, okay? There's no demerits, there's no shaming going on. Like, I'm just trying to get a feel for where people are at, so be honest. If you haven't done one, you haven't done one. If you can put your pack number, your den rank, and just yes or no, that will help us out a lot. Just kind of feel for where everyone is at. Perfect. Okay, let's talk about fears. Okay, I've been asking around, and there are two things that leaders are intimidated by with this move to virtual meetings. Okay, one is new technology, because let's face it, prior to the pandemic, like only a few of us even knew what Zoom was. And the second thing is taking all of these activities that were specifically designed to be in person, hands-on, active, outdoors, and now trying to do them inside and alone and on a computer. And there's this fear that we're going to spend all this time trying to figure it out and that the kids won't be interested after all of that effort, okay? So let's start with the first fear, that fear of technology. This presentation is not a Zoom for advanced users presentation, okay? I'm gonna gloss over a bunch of the technology that Zoom has to offer. And also, I find watching someone click on a bunch of stuff totally useless unless I can be logged in on my own account and doing it along with them kind of step by step. So we're going to provide guides and cheat sheets for any of the technology that I talk about, so you can do it at home or print it out and keep it next to your computer when you're running a meeting, okay? I'm also going to keep that technology very, very simple for now, okay? So you don't need to be afraid. You've shown tonight that you know how to log in, you know how to turn on your video, you know how to mute yourself, and you know how to use the chat. So you're like 85% of the way there, okay? What we are going to talk about tonight is how to take a hands-on program and make it work in the virtual space. And for those of you who haven't done one and are really still holding out hope that you'll never have to do it, it's time to come to terms with Zoom, all right? And there are three major mind shifts that you're gonna have to work through. The first one is that you're gonna have to plan in advance. And I know a lot of us plan in advance, but it's gonna be a new plan, like one you've never done before. And a lot of us by nature are very comfortable in front of a crowd. A good chunk of us have been doing leadership in some form most of our lives. A lot of you guys have been doing scouting like a really, really long time. And I'm guessing I could pick on anyone in this crowd and give you a piece of chalk and a bullhorn. And in about 30 seconds flat, you could have 100 kids in some kind of organized activity, okay? The problem is you're just not gonna have that comfort level with Zoom. Not yet. And that's just simply because you haven't had all of that experience, but it'll come, okay? The second thing, don't try to fight the technology. It's always going to win. The longer you avoid Zoom or complain that the meetings just aren't the same because they're not in person, the worse that transition is going to be for you, okay? You've got to embrace the technology. If you're a leader, you've got to promote the technology. You really got to look at what the value is to you, okay? With Zoom, you can easily watch videos without like lugging out an ancient projector that's missing cords. You don't have to try to huddle around a laptop with like 13 kids so they can see what you're looking at. You can simultaneously cook in like multiple kitchens where everyone has counter space and an oven. You can invite people to attend a meeting that would never have been able to because they live in another state or halfway across the globe. You can bring in dangerous animals without fears of allergies or insurance claims, right? You can take a trip without it costing you a penny, and you don't have to fill out one of those tour and activity plans. With Zoom, you can do stuff that you might never have had the chance to do any other way. So make that what you're excited about. And you can no longer do it alone. Okay, I have PTSD from group projects and like group work things, and I would much rather plan a meeting run it on my own, but you're gonna need some help, at least at first, and that is totally okay. Think about how many times you get help in a physical meeting when you haven't even asked for it, right? Another leader might step in to keep your den quiet while you're presenting to the pack about popcorn sales. An older sibling might jump in to help with an activity, or a parent whispers an answer to somebody who wasn't paying attention, or a scout runs over and opens the door for somebody who's running late. Like, you get a ton of help when you're in person, and you're gonna need that same help on Zoom. And just like in a physical meeting, you can't be everywhere at once. So don't make the mistake I did with our first pack meeting and try to click on everything all the time all by yourself, okay? It's physically impossible. You will need someone to help you with Zoom, because you'll need to make those, when you do that, you need to make those duties clear in advance, okay? You got to tell people what you need, because they're going to have a harder time seeing where you're struggling and being able to jump in. Maybe they don't know when you need the help, or maybe they don't have the permissions that the software needs to give them. So you need to work in advance and identify your helpers and tell them what you need. The jobs aren't hard. Just like they can open a door, they can let some people into Zoom. Just like if they're watching people to make sure they're not talking too much, they can monitor a chat, okay? You might be really lucky and have a great set of volunteers. Don't forget that at this point in time, you might need to help them for a minute and show them how to monitor a chat or advance a slide or let someone in so that they continue to be that great support system when we're moving into Zoom. So once you come to terms with using Zoom, however many nights of tears that requires for you, you're like, great, how do I get started? Okay, so the first thing you have to do is arrange your meeting space. You're used to having a room or some kind of physical space, right? You probably know how to reserve it, what furniture you're allowed to move around, and how to lock up at the end of the night. It's the same thing with Zoom. Zoom is a free service. You just have to sign up and you can run a 40-minute meeting for up to 100 attendees, like as many times as you want. It's so easy peasy. However, my recommendation is to get a pro account for your PAC, okay? A pro account lets you go over the 40-minute time limit that the free account has. And I know right now, many of you are like, good God in heaven, why would I ever want to run a Zoom meeting that lasts longer than 40 minutes? But if you think about it, if you log in like 10 minutes early to get yourself set up, and then your scouts log in like 10 minutes late, then you're down to a 20-minute meeting before you've even started your real meeting, okay? Zoom, in a brilliant pandemic PR move, was auto-extending the 40-minute limit for free, and they were just letting you go. But every now and then they've started to cut you off, you know, to remind you that they want money for the service that they're providing you. So if it starts to cut you off, you're trying to say everything really fast while this little countdown timer is cutting you off, or you're scrambling to set up a new meeting and trying to get everyone to re-log into something new. And that's just an added stress that you don't need right now. The pro account is $15 a month. You get a slightly better deal if you pay for a year in advance. If that cost isn't feasible, see if a parent has one you could borrow. I mean, they'd be at the meeting anyway, and it's probably not going to be used at that time. Team up with another PAC to split one. See if you can get a family to sponsor one each month, just a month of Zoom, and feature them in your meeting or highlight their business. If you can't afford a pro account and it's hindering your availability to meet, just please let Mark know ASAP and we will find a solution for you, okay? The goal of that pro account is to make it easier on you. So when you get your account, if it's free or pro, you're going to look at the bajillion settings they offer and you're going to make this face, okay? Don't stress about it. We'll provide a guide so you know what to set. And Zoom does a really good job of explaining what each option is and what it does, okay? You are going to decide what you are baseline comfortable with for your meetings. We'll provide suggestions to get you started, but you can change anything that you want whenever you want. And I'm going to highlight just a few of the options here so you can kind of understand my rationale and how they impact the meetings I run. I do not allow attendees to join before the host, okay? I said I put them in a meeting room or a waiting room. A lot of you were in a waiting room waiting for this thing to start. Okay, I do that for two reasons. One is when I log in, I might only want a co-host, which is Zoom's fancy term for helper. I might only want my helper in at first so we can quickly chat about something for the meeting or practice something. And I don't need like an early bird like snooping around and seeing what we're up to. The second reason is that just like in person, you need too deep leadership in all meetings, right? Normally for Cub Scouts, it's super easy. Cubs don't drive, so they kind of wander in with their parent. However, on Zoom, it's really easy for parents to kind of mysteriously disappear into the background. So I want to make sure for my own safety that I've got two adults present in the room before the meeting starts. I start my meetings with video on, but sound off. Okay, that way everyone can see who joined when they come in, right? It's like somebody coming into the room, I can see them, but the new person doesn't interrupt anything when they walk into the room. So they're not making noise. They can, like I said, walk in without interrupting anything, but I can still tell that they're there. Whenever feasible, I like to greet scouts who are logging in by name so that they know they've been seen, right? I unmute them so they can say hi. And then I ask to say hi to their parent, you know, just to encourage them to be a little bit more accountable for being at the meeting. And then I also say hi to their like sibling or their dog or their stuffed animal or whatever else it is, okay? When it comes to chat, I allow group chat on PAC meetings, but not in den meetings unless I absolutely need it for the activity. In den meetings, kids jump all over that chat and they're spamming it with Fortnite and other stuff. I've literally seen a kid in my son's classroom type the letter O over and over and over again for a full hour while his teacher went insane, okay? It's a huge distraction, so I just turn it off. In a PAC meeting, it's a totally different story. In a PAC meeting, we have a volunteer, shout out to Sarah, who mans the chat and we've set the expectation that chat is for the parents, okay? I do not allow private chat. Private chat allows you to talk to just one other person in the room. So if you want to like chat with a buddy during a meeting, you quietly text them under the table, just like you would do if we were sitting side by side, all right? Zoom offers a ton of flexibility when it comes to various settings and features. And for new Zoom users and young cubs, I recommend that you start very slow. Do not feel like you need to keep up with the Joneses and use all of the crazy options, all right? Once you've decided on your PAC settings and those default settings, you're gonna write them down. You're gonna write down the username and the password, and you're gonna share it with your den leaders or your committee chair or anyone else who runs your meetings. Okay, just like if they needed to book a room, they have to put the meeting on the Zoom schedule, which if you can use any sort of scheduling software, you can use Zoom. Just like a physical room, tell them if they change the settings, they got to put them back the way they found them, and not to share the login information with any randoms, just like they wouldn't hand around a set of keys, all right? Is this the safest, most lockdown method for having an account? No, obviously not. Is it realistic for what we're doing? Absolutely. The next thing you are going to do is you are going to do a practice run. Please do not practice in front of the children. It is embarrassing and stressful. I watched a Google Meet of 30 kids totally school their teacher on how to use the technology. Save yourself the mortification, okay? Practice run is easy to do at a committee meeting or with another den leader who also needs to practice. If you need somebody to practice, I'm down, just email me, all right? So what you're gonna practice is setting up a meeting, which if you can do this in Outlook or on a Google Calendar, you're set. You're gonna practice starting a meeting and letting people in. You're gonna mute and unmute those people. You're gonna assign some co-hosts. You're gonna share your screen and your computer sound. You're going to figure out where your camera is, and you're going to learn to look at it and not down at your notes, okay? You're going to remember where your face is and put the center of your face in the screen. You're also going to practice your happy smiley face, so that way when people enter a room, you're not glaring at them because you're staring at something on your screen. This may sound like a lot, but you guys, it's just knowing what button to click, okay? It's like getting a new phone. You know how to make a phone call and check your voicemail, all right? You just don't know where they moved the stupid button to. So where you figure out where that button is, you're totally set and it becomes second nature. You're gonna do all of this on the actual physical device that you're gonna use for meetings. Don't get clever. Don't practice on a Mac and then try to do something on a PC. Don't do it on your phone and then jump to an iPad. Let's not get slick. Just stick with what you're going to use, all right? Your initial practice times, probably about 15 minutes. The more you do it, the more confident you become. And once you're used to this new room, it's basically the virtual equivalent of knowing how to jiggle that drawer that always sticks or knowing where they hide all the whiteboard pens, okay? So you've come to terms with Zoom, you've got your account all set up, or you're one of those people that are like, yeah, Jen, I've been using Zoom for forever. It's like my best friend. What am I supposed to do at a meeting? You're supposed to have fun. Okay? Technology is not where you want to spend your time, so don't worry about learning anything else in Zoom for now. Skip the polls, skip the whiteboards and the annotations and the stressful little breakout rooms, all right? Just avoid all of that. Focus on making the meeting fun, engaging, and memorable. That's where you want to spend your time. A lot of our kids are potentially going to be in virtual meetings for several hours a day. The last thing they want is another boring one. So what am I doing at the meeting? It's the same stuff you would have done in person: adventure or award requirements, charitable events, recognition ceremonies, loud, obnoxious, messy activities, announcements that neither the kids nor the parents want to sit through. It's all the same stuff, right, that any of the guidebooks tell you to do, just with some small tweaks. So let's talk about a fun meeting, okay? One person that needs to have fun is you. So here's what you're going to do so that you're not miserable. You're going to identify a co-host or two in advance, just like you would identify a leader or a parent volunteer to help you out. For a den meeting, I usually have one co-host who lets people into the meeting because kids accidentally sign out a lot and need to be let back in. And if I've allowed it, they keep an eye on the chat, answering questions, stopping side chatter, or stopping me if I need to address a group issue, okay? In my meetings, I also have a scout on a second computer who sits right next to me. Do you know what two computers close together do during a Zoom meeting? They make that horrible echo noise that goes straight into your brain, and then every kid wants to unmute themselves to tell you that there's an echo, but you're aware that there's an echo, all right? So if you're like me and you have a scout in the same room as you, I suggest that they sit as close to you as possible and they mute their computer. They can obviously hear you, they're sitting right next to you, and they can hear the other scouts through your computer. If they want to share something, don't unmute them, because then you have to mute yourself. And then when you need to go back, you got to do the mute unmute thing again. Just have them lean over into your camera and start talking, okay? Low tech, super easy. An added bonus of this low tech approach is that now you essentially have two monitors. So when you're sharing your screen, you can ask your scout to throw everybody else in gallery mode, and then you can see everybody's face. So you've got the best of both worlds, a giant shared screen, and then everybody's reaction. For a pack meeting, I have that same co-host and the same scout, plus I give co-host rights to anyone who is presenting and all the den leaders if they're presenting or not, okay? They might not need co-host approval, but it's easier to give it to them in advance than to try to figure it out on the fly, all right? I also task den leaders with taking attendance. And yes, Zoom has this really cool report, and it has this very fancy registration questionnaire that you can use. You can learn to use all that stuff, or you can just ask your den leaders to look at a screen and write down who is there, okay? Have them do that at the start and towards the end of the meeting so they can catch any latecomers or people who might have like glitched out and had to jump back in. The host and the presenters and the co-hosts need to log in about 15 minutes early. It's no benefit to have somebody who's helping you log in late. You need them in early with you. And that gives you time to have that like, oh shit moment when like your computer needs to reboot and Zoom decides to freak out and you just like have a panic attack, right? You can talk about any last minute items with your co-host. And then what you want to do is you want to open up each and everything that you intend to share so that it's queued up and ready. And then you're going to shut down everything else, okay? That way your computer screen is not cluttered and you don't get confused or people don't see something they're just not supposed to see. So then you're going to set up your gathering activity and then you're going to start to let people into the meeting and now like it's on, like it's beginning. Okay, that's fun for you. Next, you want to make it fun for everyone else. Just like in a physical meeting, no one wants to like awkwardly hang around in silence while they're waiting for the meeting to start. So make sure that you have a gathering activity ready the second you let that first scout in. Okay, just like in person, these are like easy, fun activities that they can jump in and out of at any time. I personally like to always have music playing when we first let people in. It immediately brings energy to the meeting and it sets a mood, and I'm lame, so I tie the songs into like whatever our theme is. If you're going to share music, you need to share your computer sound. So when you hit share screen, there's an option to share your computer sound. You want to click that. And while you're there, you might as well optimize your video clip sharing too, okay? It's just another button to click on. Again, I welcome scouts and parents by name, and I unmute them so they can say hi, because when they come into our meetings, they're silent. If you've got everybody muted when they log in like I do, announce that you're going to unmute them, and then announce when you're going to remute them so that they know, okay? They have to accept your unmute. So you got to give them like a split second because you're going to unmute them and then they got to click on something. So you're like, hi. And there's that awkward pause. You just got to get used to the awkward pause. Like there's no fighting it. Okay. Here are some really easy gathering activities. Okay. Have a dance party to the music that you're playing. Have a scout demo a dance move and then have the other kids try to do it, or do a freeze dance. If you're doing an activity that requires at-home materials, have that list up and then send them to go get what they need. Do a photo slideshow showing activities that your scouts have done recently. A lot of us are doing stuff at home, right? So our pack has a Shutterfly Shares site account. It's got a handy phone app. Parents snap a pic, throw it right to us. Pose a question for a kid to answer. Play Mad Libs, have kids write their suggestions on a piece of paper and then just hold that paper up to their screen, okay? Yes, there's a fancy whiteboard functionality in Zoom if you want to use it, but if you don't, kids know how to write. Play Mad Libs, ask them to build something out of Legos, Play-Doh, whatever they've got around the house. Put up a word scramble and see how many they can figure out. Show a list of items and see how many they can memorize. Put up a Where's Waldo image and have them go on a hunt. Turn on a flashlight and play shadow charades. Figure out a message in Morse code or the Pigpen cipher. Ask the kids to draw something, draw a pet they want, or have them sketch a Pinewood Derby car. Most recently, we had scouts draw their den leaders, and these guys nailed it. I mean, take a good look. They nailed it. That's like a year's worth of pack gathering activities right there. So you're set with the gathering activities. Whatever the activity is, make sure that you unmute yourself every minute or two and check in. Don't let it be like when you're on hold and everything's gone silent and you're not sure if things are really happening, okay? Narrate what is going on and make sure you do it in a tone that feels really overly enthusiastic, because adults tend to default to a little professional and a little dry when they get on Zoom. And that's great for work, but it's horrible for kids, okay? Hey, welcome. If you just joined us, we're hunting for our favorite kitchen gadgets. It looks like Dane just brought over a tortilla maker, and Luke is trying to unplug what I think is a juicer. Keep hunting for your favorite kitchen gadgets, and we'll talk about what you picked a little bit later in the meeting. If you feel like a sportscaster from ESPN's The Ocho, you are totally doing it right, all right? When you're ready to start the meeting, clearly count down to the opening, okay? Because scouts and families may have stepped away from the screen for a myriad of reasons. They need some noise, some audio to let them know that it's time to come back. We're ready to start, okay? So announce the end of the gathering activity and then do a tech check-in. You can make it fun, right? If you can hear me, stick out your tongue. If you can see me, put your eye up really close to the camera. Remind them to shut down anything on their computer that is not Zoom, so video games or GG Math or whatever they got running in the background, and then set or remind them of your expectations for the Zoom meeting, okay? And let them know upfront when they get to talk and what they should do if they have a question or a technical issue. Those are the big two items that the kids want to know. A lot of these kids will be on Zoom calls where the rules are slightly different, so just make it clear and remind them, we don't raise hands here, we put it in this or whatever. Something as simple as like, we're going to hear from our Cub Master and then we're going to tell jokes. We'll all be on mute when the Cub Master speaks so we can hear him, but then I'm going to unmute all of you when we tell jokes so we can hear each other laugh. If you have technical issues, you can have your parents put them in the chat or text Den Leader Brian, right? Text is great because if they're having real big Zoom issues, there's no way they can use Zoom to tell you that they're having issues. Okay, so now it's time for the opening. Get your scouts involved right from the start. Have them submit design ideas for Zoom backgrounds and get them excited to see which one is going to be featured that month. For the Pledge of Allegiance, use a flag that's in front of a scout's home, or have them film a flag ceremony using Lego men or action figures and send it in. Have them sing or play a patriotic song. Select a scout to lead the scout oath or law and spotlight their video so everyone can see them. And put the oath or the law up on the screen so parents can participate as well. This is a fantastic time to unmute everyone so you can hear everyone, because if it's messy and loud, it doesn't matter. That's what it always sounds like when we do the Pledge of Allegiance. There's always voices and they're always off time, right? That's comfortable. It's what we're used to. Do roll call and let the scouts roar or growl or applaud or yell when their den is called, all right? Let them make some noise. Let them know right off that these meetings are different than school meetings. I personally like to mix up the order of the meetings a bit, even when they're physical meetings, and it's worked really well for Zoom too. So for PAC meetings, after opening, we do awards and recognition, and then we go straight into activities. And sometimes we flip flop it if the activity takes a while so they can finish the activity, and then we'll do awards. We drop off awards to parents in advance, and then we create a PowerPoint slide for each recipient, and the parent gives them the award when we read their slide. So we mix up the imagery on each one to give them kind of something to look forward to while they're watching awards go down. If you have a smaller PAC, you might be able to spotlight each scout in person as you announce their awards. For Den meetings, I do activities first as well. Like I need them to see right off the bat just how much fun we're gonna have. And then when they've come off that high of the fun, then we can talk and do business items. But the level of energy is either typically too low or too high, like right at the beginning of the meeting to focus on business. So this gives me a minute to kind of even that out. Picking your activities is the hardest part, right? With the recent move to distance learning, the web is full of great ideas, but you can end up getting the dreaded Pinterest paralysis, where everything starts to look the same and you are immediately intimidated and overwhelmed because there's just too much to pick from. And now there's all this homeschool stuff that's flooding the internet too, and now it's like double. All right. I'm going to give you links to a few amazing resources that always deliver for me. Plus, the ultimate guide from the Southern Crescent District that includes Zoom and at-home ideas for over 95 Cub Scout adventures by adventure. So you can literally just take a look at the list and be like, I have bears and I want to do this, and click on it and it gives you a list. Okay, I haven't tried all of their activities, obviously, but as I do, I will share what worked and what didn't work with Mark and with the Iron Star Facebook group, okay? I will also share any PowerPoint materials or printouts or handouts or emails or whatever too. I ask that you guys all do the same. Let's not all have to reinvent the wheel, all right? Let's share our materials and make it easier on all of us. When you're picking your activities, they need to be a few things, okay? Number one, they need to be simple. So find projects that consist of simple household items and easy to follow instructions. If the items are uncommon and you really need it, first see if you can find a simpler alternative, okay? I needed to make fossil imprints. I was not like sending all of my parents in the middle of a pandemic to the Home Depot to get plaster of Paris. I just wasn't gonna do that to them. But they did have Play-Doh at home, and if they didn't, we could make salt dough. So that was super fun and got the same point across. Do you have something oddball that parents just don't have at home? Make a little activity kit or put it in with their awards and have them come pick it up or drop it off, whatever's easier. Either way, I like to give my parents at least 2 weeks to find it or pick it up, okay? No one likes to be hit with a last minute request and you just ran out of glue, all right? Another thing that your activities need to be are visual. Let's face it, none of you want to look at my ugly mug this whole meeting. So make sure you have something else to look at. A PowerPoint, Google Slides, a video, some other scout who's going to present, some show and tell item, something that's visually appealing and mixing it up, okay? Designing a PowerPoint for a group of kids is not the same as designing one for a bunch of adults. They don't want lists and lists of words. Think of it more like a photo slideshow full of interesting imagery. But I'm not a designer, you say. Well, you don't have to be. PowerPoint does it for you. There's a little thing on the right called Design Ideas. You just click on it and it'll take whatever you've thrown on the page and make it awesome. I literally put some words and a campfire, and you can see on the right all of the things that it'll do for you. Oh, but even when I do PowerPoint and I use that funky design thing, like my images still look all blurry or pixelated, you can use Google Tools to find larger images that you can steal that will look great. All you have to do is click on the Tools function, and when you pick size, pick large. You will not have that sad looking little tent that that guy's so angry about. Okay, but I'm a little bit like of a design snob and I don't like the ideas from PowerPoint. Well, great, get Canva, it's free. Pick a design, plug in your info, and it not only will make it for you, it will also auto resize it for all of your social media platforms and your email and your flyers and whatever else you need. It's brilliant, I love it. Okay, so you've got all these activities and now they look really good and they sound really good, but they also need to go really quick, okay? Holding a Zoom meeting for a group of adults, it's just not the same as holding one for kids, okay? Kids' attention span is just a lot shorter, and I already know that some of you are having trouble continuing to pay attention. So just imagine if you were 7 years old and trying to sit through this, all right? When you're doing a Zoom for kids, you need to mix it up like every 5 to 10 minutes. Watch a video, play a game, listen to a song, do something hands-on, and of course, do something active. These kids need to get up and move. Give them some kind of wiggling to do to help wake them up. Have them do some breathing exercises and then slow them back down. Your time on these meetings is very valuable since you're moving so quick, okay? Here is a fantastic way to skip all those annoying ads when you're trying to watch a YouTube video. All right, you're going to go ahead and insert it right into your PowerPoint. The ads don't play when you watch it through a PowerPoint. And if you don't want to watch all this stuff, you're just trying to get to the middle of this video. When you go to share a video from YouTube, it gives you an option to tell you what time you want to start. And then it puts that time right into the link. So when you click on it, it takes you to 2 minutes and 39 seconds. So you didn't have to watch all the baloney at the beginning. Awesome. This is all great, Jen, this is great. But listen, there's no way I can get all those requirements completed online. Like, there's just no way. And to that, I say total baloney. Okay, so here are some common woes that I have heard. The kids are supposed to meet this expert and now we can't go, right? So this one is easy, like thanks for the softball. Invite someone to your Zoom. Ask your den or pack if they know anyone, post an SOS on social media, email local clubs and groups. More people know how to use Zoom than ever, so it's not intimidating and they don't even have to put on real clothes. They can sit in their pajama pants and do the Zoom meeting, right? If you can't find anybody, Hi-Ho Kids has probably already found it for you. They have a great set of interviews and they're done by kids, so the whole thing feels super organic. Oh, but I was supposed to do like this STEM activity for all those NOVA awards. Okay, there's a ton of science on the internet. You can do a cool thing at home, like making elephant toothpaste. And then you can go online over to Mark Rober's YouTube channel and watch him do the world's largest version of that experiment. Okay, you can go over to Don't Memorize and watch a video on the human eye and then make human eye origami, which sounds disgusting and kind of looks disgusting, but it's cool, right? You could go listen to a fun song about dinosaurs from the Storybots and then make edible fossil layers. There are a ton of science options out there. I really love the Crash Course and Brainchild for some of the older kids. And when you're talking about younger kids, the Magic School Bus and even Mythbusters Junior has a ton of stuff. Oh, but we were going to do this environmental thing and it was like really specific. Like what? Transforming human poop into eco-friendly fertilizer? Nat Geo's got it. That's easy. And then you can make this solarium, which a toothpaste company shared, which is super random. Okay. You want to do something on the environment? We've got Our Planet, Blue Planet, Planet Earth. It's like Oprah's giving away planets over here. There's a planet for somebody. All right. You got older kids. Guess who's still around? Bill Nye. Now he's got a show called Bill Nye Saves the World. You got little kids, Octonauts, Wild Kratts, super fun, very engaging, all about environmental stuff. Oh, but Jen, you know what? They were supposed to cook and they were supposed to use this like cast iron pan and it's like a thing. Well, one option, give that idea up. Just have them cook, not using a cast iron skillet. I mean, we're all just doing our best over here, right? Or buy one on Amazon. I can get this one delivered tomorrow for 15 bucks, okay? Rotate that skillet around, give it to a kid each month, each week, and have them cook something and report in on their results at your den meeting. Take all those recipes and make a cookbook or a blog at the end of the year, right? You could follow along with a recipe on Hey Kids, Let's Cook, which is a great television show that's available online to share. You could learn about the science of cooking with a clip from Good Eats and Alton Brown. You could go to storylineonline.net and have a famous actor read them Zombies Don't Eat Veggies. Hint at the end, the zombies love the veggies. Oh, but we're going to do this like history or like this humanities, like civics thing. Okay, watch the Who Was show clip on Amelia Earhart and then make paper airplanes. That's kind of rad. Listen to the clean version of Alexander Hamilton, which I didn't even know exists, but there's a clean version, and then explore the various historical figures that have ended up on coins or money. Watch a video on the civil rights movement from educational videos for kids, and then transcribe anti-slavery manuscripts for the Boston Public Library through Zooniverse. I mean, there's a ton of cool, engaging stuff. Okay, you couldn't go to a museum because the museum was closed, but you could still watch Horrible Histories or check out stuff for Time Magazine for kids. There's a video series called A Kid Explains History where, surprise, a kid explains history. You go to the History Channel, or better yet, the History Channel Classroom, where they already have activities and stuff laid out for teachers that you can steal. And if you really wanted to get super involved, Long Beach does virtual youth town halls so the kids can attend and interact in real time. Okay, yeah, but we're supposed to do art. And like I told you earlier, I can't even design a PowerPoint. So how am I supposed to do that? You don't have to do anything. You can do a lunch doodle with illustrator Mo Williams, or you can sketch your favorite Pixar and Disney characters with the Disney Park blog. You can even paint along with Paco the Sloth via Pacific Animal Productions. And I looked earlier and now they have a drawing with owls. And I don't know how owls draw. I can kind of imagine how a sloth could paint, but log in for that and tell me how it goes. But I was gonna be like really unique and have this very oddball topic. Okay. So TED Ed, which is the kids' version of TED Talks, talks about all kinds of crazy, unique topics. So does Adam Ruins Everything, and the show Explained and PBS Nova. So if you want to be unique, by all means, go for it. You know what? I just want to play like a game. I don't want to do this. Like, we just need to play a game. Okay. You can build your own Jeopardy or Kahoot really, really easy. I know it sounds scary, but I built this one in like 5 minutes. And if you know the answer, put it in the chat. You can ask Alexa to play games like No Way That's True or Either Or, and have kids vote on answers. You can play a game from Jackbox TV, which does things like Pictionary and other fun games where the kids use their cell phones as their remotes to answer. You can do a scavenger hunt. You can do minute to win it games, which are super fun. And while you're doing all these games, like, don't forget virtual high fives for sportsmanship. Done. Jen, you talked about getting the kids like move around, and a lot of our kids are inside and they don't have a lot of space. And even if they do have space, like the Wi-Fi out there is really sketchy. Okay. Again, no problem. Movely was pretty much designed to get kids moving in a tight space. Go Noodle is just like that too. I have done many a Just Dance video with my boys. I throw up a video. This one happens to be Ghostbusters, and it shows the dance moves and you follow along. You can use Activity Hero to find a free virtual class, because there's tons of free classes right now because everybody's trying to advertise how their business was awesome about moving online. And you know what? You might just have to kind of rethink how you play games. Okay, you can't go outside to play tennis, but you could use balloons and paper plates and plastic spoons to make a tennis court inside. And if you can't go outside to use chalk, you could use painter's tape or washi tape on the floor. That even comes out of carpet. So just think about it. Maybe they can't do teams, but they could race against yourself, or they could race against the clock, or they could see how many times they can do it in a minute, or they can do a relay where you start one scout doing it, and when he's done doing his 10 jumping jacks, he yells out another scout name, and then they do their 10 jumping jacks. And you see how fast it takes to get the whole den to do it. There are definitely plenty of games online. Oh, but we were supposed to go somewhere. Okay. Where do you want to go? You want to go to a manufacturing plant? You want to go to the Louvre? You want to go to Mars? Like, if you want a virtual tour, everybody's got one. I mean, you could Google anything and there's a virtual tour for that. Farms, Botswana, you name it. This is all great. It's all great. So excited. It's all great. I'm just really overwhelmed right now with work and remote learning. And like, I just need an expert to like help me out for a sec. Fantastic. I did a quick search of Facebook events last night, and I found virtual stargazing with the Central Coast Astronomical Society, a rocket event with the Columbia Memorial Space Center, and a live Q&A at the Aquarium of the Pacific, which my son has actually done like 3 times and loved. Okay. Khan Academy, which a lot of you use it for school, is not just for school. They actually have like fun lessons on there. Outschool, Sawyer, Udemy, Mystery Science, All of these things have classes that you can sign up for. And like I said, right now, a lot of these are free, so take advantage while you can. Oh, but we were supposed to do some volunteer work. Okay, make some dog treats and drop them off at a local shelter. Pick up trash when you're out for a walk. Adopt a grandparent through CDH Living. Decorate bags for Meals on Wheels. Make paracord bracelets for Operation Gratitude or Soldiers Angels. If you have something really specific that you were supposed to do, go to Volunteer Match. It has lists and lists of charities that need help, how old you have to be, and exactly what they're looking for you to do. Jen, Scouts is all about getting outside, and we're sitting in front of a computer screen. How is that getting outside? Okay, hiking or bike riding is totally cool, just not as a den, right? Get the All Trails app. God, I want to say Trails In because of popcorn. Sorry, All Trails app. Send a new hiking trail each month for families to do on their own. Have them submit photos and use those in your gathering activity, right? Give them a task to complete on their hike. Find a certain animal, a certain plant, something of a certain color. Items let's start with a certain letter. Take a photo at a certain point of interest on the trail, whatever it is. Go geocaching with your pack. Decorate rocks and leave them out there, and then send your pack to go geocache and find them. Go on a bike ride. Same thing with the All Trails app. It has bike routes in there. Long Beach Council just did a bike ride. We sent our kids out there to enjoy that bike ride. Tell them to bike in their favorite spot and then tell us about it. All of that stuff is completely doable, not as a group, but you can still report as a group what those activities were and still feel like you were there in spirit. I know what you're saying, Jen. Listen, we were supposed to camp. We were supposed to camp a lot this summer. Okay, I don't know about you. I actually camped a lot this summer. Okay, this weekend's going to be the third virtual camp that we've done this year. It's very easy to translate this. Set up a tent in your yard or in your living room, freak out your gardeners if you've got them like we did, and just go to town, right? You can learn why saving animals is important with the Stone Age Man on YouTube, and then watch a live cam of that animal. You can go on a safari in Botswana. You can play a video of a bonfire, listen to hours of camp noise or rain or waterfalls, and drown out the cars and your neighbors. A lot of you have essential oil diffusers. Put some lemongrass or something in that thing. Make it smell like you're outside. There's a lot you can do when it comes to camping. And oh my God, you're not a scout if you don't eat a s'more. You can eat a s'more, all right? If you can't build a campfire, you can do it over your stove. You can do it in a fireplace. You can make a solar oven. Do not let your scouts go a year without eating a s'more. There's a lot of activity options, okay? I do no more than like 30 to 40 minutes of activities. And when you're jumping from a video to a PowerPoint and you're having scouts share and you're doing an activity, like it goes by fast. If I need to, I will end activities with like a kid's yoga or a breathing exercise to kind of slow them down and get them to focus so that we can go into talk time and like business items, all right? This is easy. You can unmute all the kids and let them talk all at once because that's what you would have done in the room anyway. You don't have a mute button when you're in a physical room. If you're doing a pack meeting, here's where you might have a more traditional PowerPoint with like details and dates of pack business, all right? Then you move into your closing. Do whatever you do for closing. Think if you can make it clever, right? If you have a good conduct candle, have the kids all blow at the screen while you blow out the candle. Just make sure whatever it is, whatever you're done doing, is to officially announce that the meeting is over and people are free to go. They need that verbal. We're done here. You can all go. I suggest leaving the meeting open for a bit afterwards so kids can hang out and talk. Because if we were in a physical room, there'd be a lot of those kids that this is a moment where they get to have some connection and have some talk time. And it's loud, but it's fine. Okay? After the meeting, make a mental note of what went well and what didn't. Share that info with your pack and the council and the Iron Star Facebook page, right? Help a scout out. Don't share a photo or video of the meeting unless you have a release for the kids who are featured in it, all right? There are kids' photos and oftentimes like full names on those screen captures, so be respectful of people's privacy. And then send a recap of any business items to the attendees. Parents may have, been cleaning up a mess or dealing with a spouse or not able to copy down everything you shared during that section. So shoot it out to them in an email or a text. Like, let's make life easy for them too. Then follow up personally with each scout. You're not connecting with scouts and parents like you normally are. So drop a personal note to your scout when you drop off their awards, like telling them how proud you are of them. Shoot a quick text to a parent about how funny their kid's joke was, or that they were really well behaved in the meeting. It doesn't have to be every meeting that you're like following up with some good news, but make sure that they hear from you personally, at least at monthly, right? It's those personal connections that make scouts want to come and help motivate parents to make the extra effort when everything in life is hard right now. All right. As you do more Zoom activities, you're going to start to build up your Zoom survival kit, right? When all your best plans run awry, have an activity in your back pocket that kids can do. 20 questions, a scavenger hunt, Simon Says, jumping jacks, 2 truths and a lie, a high and a low, whatever it is. You already have those in your back pocket now for physical meetings, so you're going to want to start to build those up for Zoom as well. You guys, you're going to do so much better than you think you are. I don't know how many times I've been on a meeting and was like, well, that was a shit show. And then a parent texting was like, that was awesome. All right. So don't doubt yourself. Everything that you think you can't do online, you can. And I'm not going to lie, it's difficult because you're not getting the immediate feedback that you're used to. Okay. You can't read the room when the room is on mute. You can't tell how people are reacting when you're busy looking at a screen and you can't see their faces. So you're just going to have to fake feeling comfortable for just a little bit, but I promise you it will get easier. And kids are missing out on those connections right now, physical, but also emotional. So if you can facilitate a way to get them to interact with each other, let them, okay? It's going to be loud and it's going to be messy and it's going to be totally fine. And then pretty soon, you're going to be like, yeah, can we just do that whittling chip over Zoom? Because I don't really want to be in a room with like a bunch of 3rd graders with knives. So why don't we just do a Zoom, you guys? That would be awesome. Okay, I have been talking at you a lot, which is the exact opposite of what I want you to be doing on a Zoom meeting. So we want to hear from you guys. What questions, concerns, feedback, like what do you have? Hopefully you've been dropping things in the chat, but we will end my share and we will start opening up for you guys to talk to us.
One comment, I was planning one of my meetings, or I was planning a couple meetings coming down the road, and the requirements is a swim test, which I don't know how we accomplish that. I don't know if anybody has any ideas on that.
That is a good question. I've actually seen a couple places open up for swim, and I would have to go back and look. It's another scout group, and they might be Orange County, that we're letting people come in and use their pool in a socially distanced way. So that is one potential option. I don't know, Mark, if you know more than I do.
This summer, of course, this is the last week of the Sea Base, and they were running the swimming merit badge there. Aside from the Sea Base, people have just been using individual pools. So we didn't really have a facility like the Y. I mean, like, the YMCA comes to mind, but we were really using the Sea Base over the summer. So it's a good question going forward into the fall. I know that Chris Macy, our director down at the Sea Base, is looking to start fall programs that we typically wouldn't run just because of the situation that we're in. Now, of course, once the weather's going to stay warm, so the water's going to be nice through October. Of course, the question comes like December, January, you probably want to use a pool that's heated. Right?
Right.
So yeah, it is a good question. For the time being, individual pools and the Sea Base is where I would check first.
Hey, Bob and Mark, this is Eric Zanfleet. 2 places, resources that we might be able to use are merit badge counselors for swimming. They may be able to have some resources to find where they can have a pool They might be BSA lifeguard trained. And the other option is our BSA lifeguards. And if we could get a contact list, or through you, make some contacts with those BSA lifeguards so that we can connect a pool with the lifeguard with the scouts that want to get their swimming also.
Great question.
Thanks.
So there's a question about links, right? And so I just put
Big question.
What's that?
That's the big question.
That is the big
Talk
question.
too fast, Jen. Where can I just click on something?
Yeah, exactly. So I just put a link in the chat, which you'll find a ton of resources on. And at the moment, not all of the documents are linked, but that's where they're going to be linked. And you can cut and paste. If there are any URLs there that aren't linked already, you can just cut and paste with your own, with your own mouse, and just paste it right into your browser to be able to see a whole laundry list. And I'm going to screen share in a little bit. But the other question, Jen, maybe for you, is maybe we can
Sure.
share your PowerPoint.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So the other thing we'll do is on this page, we will post the presentation from tonight, so you can go back. I will also say just briefly that this call will be on YouTube. So there were some questions from people wondering if they could share this with their leaders, and you can just play it back anytime that you want to on YouTube.
Excellent. Who else has a question? You know you have one. Yes, hikes are totally a viable option for a meeting. Not for meeting together, for meeting as a family and doing a hike, right? So if you go back and watch the video, I talk about the All Trails app. That has fantastic hiking options. If you're not familiar with the area, or if you're looking into a new area, or you need something different, you can send out hikes to your den or your pack and tell them where to go. You're just not telling them to all meet at the same place at the same time. You're just saying, complete this on your own time with your own family. All right, chat's starting to slow down. Last chance. All right, Mark, I think it's all you.
Okay, so I'm going to screen share and just show everybody real quickly where you can find these. I first wanted to mention when Jen was talking about camping, I heard third hand when we went on this lockdown, like earlier in March, April, there was a family whose kids, they had 2 kids, started a camp out in their living room. So they set up their tent, not outside, but in their living room. And they posted 56 days later that their kids were still sleeping in the living room. So that one night inspired them. You could just imagine, like wherever you are right now, imagine your living room, your kids sleeping there for 56 nights. It was absolutely crazy. But you never know. Definitely have fun with this stuff. Okay, so now you should see a screen share. Yes?
Yep.
Okay, great. So here's our homepage. And what I want to do is just show you the navigation, right? So under COVID, you want to go down to the second one and click Home Resources for Cubs, Dens, and Packs, right? Cub Dens and Packs. So this is what I mean. You can scroll and scroll by lion, tiger, wolf, you name it. Go down and you can just grab, there's links in here. You can cut and paste those into your browser and pull up everything that Jen was just talking about. There's the All Trails that she mentioned right there, geocaching, virtual hikes, you name it. And it just keeps on going on, right? So there's art and there's history. I just went through a whole bunch. Games. So she talked about games and movement. So of course, I didn't need to repeat, but all I wanted to do is show you that at the very top of our website, click at Home Resources for Cub Dens and Packs, and everything is right there for you. There's also an equivalent for troops, but this is the Cub Scout call, right? The other thing that I wanted to show you on our website is over on the right-hand side, under About Us, there is Cub Scout Leader Resources. So this was just updated today. Again, under About Us, the second one down is Cub Scout Leader Resources. And if you scroll right here, there's a very helpful recruitment guide, There are some social media assets. Let's see if you can see this. So do these images come up folders on your screen?
Yep.
Yep. Okay. So check this out. If you click on this right here, you have a bunch of social media assets that you can just download and post to your Facebook page. They're all there for you. They're already created. If you go back to here, you can also pull up videos, and all of these videos, they're already created for you. Again, you can download them. If I just pick one at random here.
My name is Carlos, and I'm a Cub Scout. I'm here to talk to you today about becoming a scout like me. Who here knows what Cub Scouts do?
Right? Okay, so that's a really cool video that is open to anybody. I think Jen mentioned earlier the Iron Star District. There's yard signs. Okay, so you see yard signs for graduations, for teachers, appreciation for nurses, you name it. We have 500 yard signs for free at our office. So you can come by. We would be so appreciative if you could come by and pick up a yard sign for your yard. In fact, I have one in front of my house, and I took one to my mom's house because I want everybody who drives by to see a Cub Scouting yard sign. There's also Boy Scout ones. There's activities you can participate in. There's a link here for Canva that Jen mentioned as well. And then I skipped over a lot of other things. But I also wanted to mention we have flyers here. So there's 9 different versions, and you can contact me, contact anybody in our office, and we'll print flyers for you. We'll give you blanks, whichever works for you. You just tell us what number you want, and you're good to go. We have thousands of these. So yard signs, flyers, social media assets, you name it, it's all here for you. With that said, we're coming to the end, but before we break, I wanted to turn it over to Amy for some comments on her end. Amy, are you there?
Thanks, Mark. Yeah, I'm here. Hi. I just have a quick thing to share with you guys before we send you off to the night. What I'm sharing on my screen right now, if you haven't seen it yet, is our Adventures Everywhere patch that the Long Beach Area Council is sponsoring. And the center patch is a patch that you will be able to purchase at the council office for $3. And the rockers that go around that patch, it's a limited edition patch. The rockers that go around the limited edition patch, you can earn by participating in these various activities. You'll see we've already had the bike ride, so that is a little bit late to the party. But family camping, we have our virtual camp out this weekend. If you do a camp, if you participate in the Coverie come October, or if you do family camping up at Camp Tockwitz, all of those things will qualify you for earning that family camp rocker. And then we will be sponsoring a virtual tour. I think it's in September. I don't have all the details on that, but more details will be coming out and being pushed out from the council. So keep your eyes open for that. We do have the Pike Hike. That is a special hike that was put together. I think it's by the High Adventure team in the Long Beach Area Council. And it's an historic urban hike that you can go on. We have information, I believe it's online and also at the Scout office. There's a special patch that goes along with that too. But if you do that Pike Hike during this time between, I think, August and October, then you will qualify for that rocker as well. And then if you do anything down at the sea base, if you participated in any of the summer camps, if you go down there as a family and you rent out the kayaks for a day, which is a really fun thing to do, and it's really economical. I think it's $20 for 2 hours. Is that correct, Mark? Correct me if I'm wrong.
It is. It's $20 for 2 hours.
Yeah. So, I mean, you'd be lucky if you actually get a couple hours because it's such a popular thing. But it's a great and fantastic way for your family to get out of the house and spend some time together down at the sea base. So all of these activities will qualify you for earning that rocker. You don't have to buy the rocker. There will be a form that will be released shortly for you to fill out so that you can start claiming those rockers. But keep your eyes open for that. And I just wanted to share that with you. It's a really exciting thing that's going on right now with the Long Beach Area Council. And it's a good way to keep our families connected and keep scouting alive during this time that we're, in this weird period with COVID.
Okay, so as we wrap up, I wanted to remind everybody that Jen is willing to share more of her Zoom techniques. If you want to contact her, she put her email in the chat. So be sure to pick that up. Make sure that you check out the recruitment resources, yard signs, flyers, social media assets under About Us on our website. Over on the left under the COVID side, there's all the resources that Jen mentioned today. All of those links, all of those resources by category. This will be on YouTube for anybody to view at any time. We're going to share Jen's presentation. Everybody agrees she did a fantastic job. So we're so lucky to have her share with us tonight. A little reminder that October 3rd and 4th, we're going to do a derby. And in 2 weeks, we're going to have a follow-up call, another Cub Scout leader call, where we're going to dive into a little bit more on recruitment and the derby that's coming up. So that's just a little teaser, and we'll send another invitation out for another 2 weeks. So before we close it out, I just wanted to send it over to Jen. Maybe Jen, you want to close us out?
Sure. Listen, guys, you can do it. You can totally do it. And if you're nervous about doing it and you want to audit a meeting, PAC or DEN, I'm happy to let you pop into mine at any point in time. Unfortunately, I'm not having another one for just a little bit yet. But if you have any questions, you can email me at lbpac75@gmail.com. But you're just going to fake it till you make it. You guys are going to do a fantastic job. I have no doubt whatsoever. So find something fun and throw it online.
Thanks, everyone. We hope you have a good evening.
Mark, are you there still?
Yes, I am, Bob.
Yeah, there's going to be one of these for also the Boy Scouts too?
Yes, that'll be August 25th.
Oh, good. Yeah, this is very informative. I got a lot more ideas listening to all this.
Good.
Good.
Terrific. Thank you. Thanks, Bob. Anybody else out there have a question? Okay.
All right, thanks again,
Yeah.
Jennifer. That's a great job.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay.